Hi, guys. Welcome back to Found and Free.
Hello.
We got Nicole and Bobbi.
Hey.
Michael just took the kids to Hector's.
Thank you, Michael.
Our friends.
Yes,
my
thank
friend.
you, Michael.
On the way over here, they pulled up, and Michael said that Sammy was like, "What are they doing at the tattoo shop? Is that where they're having it?" And he told her that I was getting a cross tattoo at the bottom of my back. So you guys will see that real soon.
Yeah. Real soon, we'll put that on display. I like it.
You like
I love it.
Yeah.
I do too. I think it'd be great.
matching tattoos?
We should get matching tattoos. That'd be fun.
I don't have any tattoos.
You don't?
What?
Oh, are you not a tattoo person?
No.
I wasn't either until me and Naomi on her 21st birthday, we each got our first tattoo. Now
I have one. I have one on my arm, and my Gigi, my mom's mom, designed it.
Oh,
And then a girl that Chris dated in college did it.
that's
Lauren, she's like Golden and True is the name of her business, and she's a phenomenal tattoo artist.
That's awesome.
And she remembered the story of what my tattoo's about because she met my Gigi back in the day. So it's her salvation story. I'll have to tell you guys sometimes because
Gigi's
it's
salvation
really
story is
cool.
It will blow you away.
We'll have to do like a salvation story because those are so powerful.
They are.
Yeah.
Hers is awesome.
I do think I've seen, those hand tattoos, the really thin, artist work.
Yes,
I mean,
I
I
like
don't want them, but I think I like people that you have to have a specific kind of hand. Mine would look like old and crippled.
Stop it. No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, like the hand models. You have to have a modeling hand.
I lost my ability to be a hand model when I started cutting hair because I have cuts all over it. So I was like, well, there goes my career in hand modeling.
Ah,
Maybe we
dang
could
it.
try feet modeling.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
Her face.
I'm not even going to say.
On what?
OnlyFans?
OnlyFans.
No.
Let me be a feet model. You don't want these chunky toes. I promise you that.
Nathan over there, he could be a calf. He's got some good calf
All
muscles.
right.
He's going to model those calves for
Is that
me,
what you
babe.
make him do?
Yeah, I do.
You like run across the room as fast as you can.
Go ahead. Strut that calf
Jumping
muscle.
jacks.
Let me look at them calves. Ooh,
Let me
baby.
see a squat, honey.
I mean, they do something for me. I'm just saying.
Okay. I mean, to each
now we
their
know
own.
you're making him blush.
I know. Oh, babe.
I love it.
I do too.
He's silent over there. It's like he's not here.
Yeah,
kidding.
but he is.
But
He's
he
always
is.
here in the
Thank you.
background.
Always
He's doing the beep,
around.
bop, boop, boop, boop on all the buttons.
Yeah.
What was that? It's like a dove.
Sorry, I've never heard a machine make that noise.
You guys, I'm not good with sounds and words.
Cardi B over
I don't know
here.
how I'm doing this. Anyways, so today we're going to talk about Deborah. And what's funny is that's actually our group name that Bobbi made us.
My
Yes,
little
Deborah's.
Deborah's. My little Deborah's.
So on our text group, that's our name. And it's because we have a lot of baddies in our Bible study. Let me
Yes, we
tell you
do.
what. We got some ladies that a lot of them own their own businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So they're successful.
Yes.
We've been blessed with like a great group of women, and we'd love for you to join Wednesday nights from 6 to 7:45. Food provided. I'm not going to give you my address, but reach out to me if you need it. Don't want any creeps on here. Just kidding. Okay, so Deborah is in the book of Judges. It's the 7th book of the Bible. And what I found interesting, what I kept thinking when I was researching Deborah, is the number 12. So there's 12 judges. Well, then I was like, there's 12 of a lot of things in the Bible. So I Googled what are the significance of 12 in the Bible. And it was 12 is God's power, authority, and divine order. So there's 12 judges, 12 tribes of Israel, 12 disciples, 12 stones, 12 gates, 12 stars, 12 loaves, 12 wells, and 12 months.
A dozen donuts. I'm just thinking like this number
That's all you
12 is
can
getting
think.
better for me because I'm thinking of desserts.
No, yeah, I like
Get
that.
on
12
12
dozen. A dozen, it's a 12.
Yeah.
So anything good comes in a dozen, right? Donuts,
I can get on with that.
roses.
I can go with that.
Roses, yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. So it's something that, I feel like numbers in the Bible are significant.
Yes.
I don't put much thought into that really, but that's a cool thing. I've never like studied numbers.
That's what I have loved about Yeah, 7.
I like in my Bible, when I see 7, I underline it because 7's my favorite number.
Aw.
God's
And
cool.
11, like me and Michael got married 11,
7-Eleven, baby.
And so
Oh,
when I
yeah.
see 11, like every time it's 11, I'm like, babe, it's 11. And then we give each other a little kiss.
Aw,
So
how
it's just,
sweet.
and it's always, you always see that, like I always see 11.
Yep.
So it's interesting how numbers, it's just something that kind of interests me.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
I think
cool.
God is a number God, that's for sure. And there's always like anything that's in the Bible is significant. So if there's numbers and there's a repetition of numbers, it's obviously it is very significant to God. And so I think it's
Yes.
cool. And I love numbers. I'm a numbers person. And so like the Jewish alphabet is numbers. And so I just really think, and that just like gravitates to me because I like numbers. So I'm like,
Well, and this is the year of the Jubilee.
Yes.
So in the Hebrew, I don't remember exactly what the year is, but it's something 25.
yeah.
2025.
Yeah. Well, no.
No, in Hebrew, it's different.
also, and it's the year of Jubilee. So
Which,
that's,
and 25 in Hebrew means grace.
and it's grace upon grace.
Grace,
So this
yes.
is supposed
Well,
to be
I
the
hope
year.
this is the year of
in
Jubilee. Let me
Hebrew
just.
We
of
need
grace
some Jubilee.
upon grace.
Yeah, we
Yes.
need
And you
some
can
grace
look
upon
that
grace.
up. Like you can look up like Hebrew year, and it'll show you like what the Hebrew year
It's really
is.
cool.
It's just different things that pique my interest. It's funny how different people like what makes you want to dive deeper in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm weird about timing. Like just like the first episode, I wanted to know how long it was until the flood, until Abraham, or like until
Yeah.
now. It's always interesting. There's actually this book you can buy, and it has all the timelines in them, which is really cool.
See, the things that like interest me are more on like somebody once told me that they thought before the fall and like sin entered the world that everything is like poetic and almost musical. And so it's like, what if
You need to read some near-death experiences.
Oh, I've read the whole book,
Those-
The Imagine God,
And
the God
that's
of
how
Heaven.
it is in heaven. They say, you know, that everything, like the grass has a noise, like everything has a vibration,
Yes.
like, and you can feel everything. Like you can feel, like you can look at the grass and you can feel it, basically.
That's cool.
That's neat.
I mean, music stuff obviously
Yes.
gets
Yeah.
my attention, but yeah, to think that there are other harmonies or notes that we're not,
We don't even
we don't know.
Colors.
Colors.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Okay, back to Deborah.
Okay.
Okay, Judges is God's love through judgment. So Judges is a time where Israel repeatedly turns away from God, sins, call out for God, and then God rescues them again. And it's like happens over and over. It's like, when are you guys going to learn? Like, but we're the same exact way. So then God raises up these judges who, you know, they can be spiritual guides, military leaders. But the book shows God's faithfulness and consequences of disobedience and the need for godly leadership. Judge shows us both the brokenness of humanity and God's relentless mercy towards his people. So they keep messing up and he's still coming down and fixing their problems. So Deborah's role as a judge. Deborah was both a judge and a prophetess in Israel, making her spiritual, political, and military leader. She held court under the palm of Deborah, where Israelites would come to her for wisdom and justice. This shows that she was widely respected for her wisdom and integrity. Deborah's leadership wasn't about personal power, but about being obedient to God's calling. So God calls her to action in Judges 4:6-10. Israel was suffering under the oppression of King Japan,
Japan.
and his commander Sisera, who had a terrifying army with 900 iron chariots. God gave Deborah a message for Barak, the military leader at the time. Gather 10,000 men and go to battle because God would deliver Sisera into their hands. Barak hesitated and said, "Only if you go with me, I will go. But if you don't go with me, I won't go." So Deborah agreed to go, which is crazy thinking like a woman was like,
Yeah. That a man
like
would
even
ask him.
back then, you know, like this was probably, I mean, I think she's the first time, well, I don't know that, so I can't say that. But Deborah agreed to go, but warned him but the victory would ultimately belong to a woman. And I'll get to that later. So the victory over Sisera and his army. Deborah's faith was unshakable. She told Barak, "Go, this is the day the Lord has given Sisera into your hands. Has the Lord not gone before you?" So even then she's saying like the Lord goes before you. Mm-hmm. And how many times, in our lives do we like not trust that?
Yeah.
And it's true because it's like, I pray that all the time. I'm like, Lord, go before me in this day. Go, make my way straight. And we just have to have that faith and trust that he is going before you. So Sisera fled. Not one man was left from the Sisera army. Sisera fled to a tent, and her name was Jael. Jael gave him water and laid him down, then put a tent peg in his head. So she's like, come on in.
Come on.
She's like, you need some water?
Okay, I got it.
Here, why don't you lay down? And then she goes and gets the peg.
I'm going to show you.
Yeah, which I thought about that. I'm like, that would take a lot of strength. But then I was reading, like back then, women were used to that. They were moving and putting up their tents. Like that was part of their job, everyone's job when they were, anytime they were moving, they had to, the women and the men had to do the tents, and they were probably pretty heavy duty. So Israel, through a miraculous victory, and Jael, another courageous woman, completed the triumph by killing Sisera. There was peace in the area for 40 years. And then in the next chapter, Judges 5, Deborah sings a song of praise. After the victory, Deborah and Barak sang a song of praising God's deliverance. The song highlights how God uses those who step up into faith to accomplish his will. Deborah's purpose was to lead Israel out of oppression and restore justice, and demonstrates God's power through obedience and courage. She didn't let societal norms, fear, or doubt hold her back. Instead, she trusted God fully and took action when others hesitated. So you just imagine during that time, now women have a lot more, authority, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word to use, but, and just like being 900 chariots of iron, like that would be really hard to go up to. I mean, all these stories in the Old Testament, you wonder, like, how did they have the courage? Because, like, a lot of the times it's a huge army and, they don't feel equipped. God always, because he always wants to show that, so many times in the Bible, he's like, I do this so they know that I am Lord.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't want them to be completely stacked in their army, because he wants to show it doesn't take a stacked army. It just takes faith in a faithful God. Mm-hmm. So Deborah's leadership shows women can lead with faith and wisdom. Deborah broke stereotypes of her timeline. She wasn't just a leader, she was a spiritual guide, a strategic, and a source of inspiration. Women today can draw from Deborah's example, be confidently stepping into leadership roles, knowing that God equips those he calls. So if God's called you for something, he will equip you for it, even when you feel it's insignificant. Well, just like this podcast, like we all felt like he was calling us for this. And it's like I told you the week before or the day before we were going to film, I was like, the devil was in my head. And I was like, I cried out and I was just like, God, why would you give me this and not give me the ability to honor you? I don't feel that I'm capable right now of even doing any of this, and I feel like right before breakthrough that happens, right before you feel like you're going to step out, there's that thought that's like, you can't do it. And that's when you just have to have faith in the Lord. Deborah trusted God's promise even in the face of overwhelming odds. She didn't wait for others to act. She boldly stepped into action, aspiring others to follow. Relatable example would be, like Deborah, women today face challenges that require courage, whether it's speaking out against injustice, pursuing a dream, or leading difficult times. Her story reminds us that courage comes from trusting God's power, not our own abilities. And I think a takeaway from this is faith over fear. Like, you have to have faith that surpasses your fear. Deborah trusted God completely, even when odds seemed impossible. Her story shows the faith is foundation of leadership and action. And in Judges 4:14, go, this day is the day the Lord has given Sisera into your hands. Has not the Lord gone ahead from you? Your role in God's plan matters. Deborah reminds us that no matter our position, leader, mother, friend, or mentor, our obedience to God's calling can have ripple effects onto those around us. So when you don't step into your calling, how many people are suffering from that? But when you're living in your calling, how many people can benefit from that? Everyone around you.
Yeah.
Because God will, that's just how good he is. He'll make, if it's for you, if he is for you, who can be against you?
Right.
Okay. So God equips those he calls. Deborah wasn't chosen because of her gender, her position, or background, but because of her faith and willingness to obey. What has God placed on your heart to lead or accomplish, and how can you trust him to equip you? Girls?
Say that one more time. I always like to hear it again so I can think through.
I'm the same way. Deborah wasn't chosen because of her gender, her position, or her background, but because of her faith and willingness to obey. What has God placed on your heart to lead or accomplish? How can you trust him to equip you?
I love that you speak out on Deborah not being placed there because of glorifying gender or glorifying whatever other identities that she may have had outside of Christ. And I think that's a typical thing today in our culture that we see is so many women stand on this pillar of feminism and glorify it so much that it just doesn't even make me feel better as a woman.
That's right.
It actually makes me feel worse. I don't want to talk so much about the fact that I'm a woman doing a specific thing that becomes the main focus. I just want to be good at whatever it is that I'm doing, do it to the best of my ability, and let whatever happen from that happen and however God's going to use it. And I personally become overwhelmed with that anthem of, look at me doing this, and I'm a woman doing it.
Well,
Can
it becomes,
I'm a woman, hear me roar.
it becomes an
Yes.
idol. It becomes
It does.
an idol.
And it's like you're just glorifying self. I don't no matter what color my skin is, no matter what my gender is that I've been born with, that God has ordained in me, I'm not going to put that above the fact that I am created by God and that I am who he says I am, and I'm called to do what he says I need to do. Everything after that, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because God, like you said, he equips, he does the work, and he's going to pick the person that he sees fit for the thing to give himself the glory. God's getting the glory, and he's going to use whoever he wants to use, and it's not because I'm an awesome woman that he's doing that, or specifically that I'm a woman, you know what I mean? And so I love this story because who says women haven't done big things since the beginning of time?
Yes.
Stop complaining. Okay. Women have been doing really cool things. And guess what? So have men.
Yeah.
And whatever weird, corrupt thing that humans have turned that into over time to make it the thing it is today that people try to make it into is just, to me, I don't think about those things a lot, and I don't even want to give a lot of weight to them because we're all just humans that God is, whatever he wants to do in our lives and through our lives.
The whole narrative is I can do that just as good as a man. Okay. To me, that takes away feminism. Feminism. Abimelech. Feminism. Because here's the thing. I'm a woman. God created me to be a woman. Now, am I independent and bold and can be aggressive and I like confrontation, and I can debate with the best of them and I'm a leader and I'm authoritative. Yes. But I'm a woman in that, and that's how God created me. I don't want to be like a man because I'm not a man.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, when I can do that better than a man, or I'm just as good as a man, okay. Well, you know what? I'm a woman.
Then don't shave your armpits.
That's right.
No shave November, then let's see it.
Let's see it. I want to see your beard too. You know, well, when you get
No
my
leg
age, that
shaving,
happens.
no armpit
Okay.
shaving, girlfriend.
But
Yeah.
I just think, to me, that takes away from femininity, is to say, well, I'm just as good as a man. No, you're not. You're a woman. You're just as good as a woman that God has created you to be. So live in that and be proud of that, and be proud that you're a woman that God created, and how he created you. If you are more, sometimes I have more masculine tendencies sometimes because I am aggressive and this and that. Live in that, because that's how God created you. Now, sometimes Nicole has to reel that back and calm it down, and that's okay. And God and I are working on that. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to be as good as a man. I want to be as good as a woman that God created me to be. Period. End of
Amen.
story. And that's femininity to me.
Yeah.
So, and I think that was Deborah.
Mic drop. Yeah.
Mic drop, boom, I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and she even, called out to the head of the army. She still let him try to do his role, and then
Yes.
he,
Asked her.
Mm-hmm. Because he knew that she had God with her.
It's right.
Okay. And I think that happens a lot, even in the Bible. Like, people are hesitant. Like, people will tell them, God is with you. He goes with you. And they're like, well, prove it. Where's the signs?
Sign.
And that's where faith comes in. Okay, here's another question. Deborah's courage inspired Barak and 10,000 men to step into battle. How can your faith and boldness encourage those around you to take action in their own lives? I think by just, honestly, being supportive and talking good into people and telling them, God is in you. You do have capabilities. You do, just like when we're in a bad place, we talk to each other and we are a positive, just speak faith over them.
Speaking God's promises over people too is a big thing. Like, something that I feel like I've kind of started to try to apply in conversations just this year is being available for people and just listening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one time Jason was telling Nathan and I that he was reading a Bob Goff book, and I love Bob Goff because he's just extra, but he's just ordinary. So he takes the mundane things of life and makes them absolutely fun and joyful and really neat. But Jason pointed out in that book is just the gift of your time and being available for people. And then I have this thing in me that wants to constantly fix a problem or please a person so they feel better, and I'm trying to give them some amped up speech or something. I feel like I have to motivate them with a lot of words, but actually just quietly listening, sitting with them in the moment, and then just give them a truth of scripture. Hey, did you know that you are created with a purpose?
Yeah.
Just something simple like that is so powerful. And did you know that God, he will go before you, behind you, beside you. He's with you always, even when it feels like he's not. Just taking those promises and writing them on your heart so that when whatever is happening with hard conversations or whatever, you're prepared with just I think you said one day, it's just the simple thing of the joy of the Lord is my strength.
Yeah.
Just something that you can speak over people. You don't have to fix their problems. You're not going to fix their problems. You don't have to amp them up with some girl, you go, you got this. You so good. Oh my gosh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need that every now and then.
Yes.
We do.
Yes.
But your availability, your
Just
time,
feel
your ear.
Yeah, letting them feel heard.
Yes.
People just want to feel heard and seen
Mm-hmm.
and know that their pain or whatever matters.
Yeah.
Just the other day we were talking and something had happened and you were like, well, they had told me, worse things could happen in my life. And
I was
like,
crying on the phone like, things could be worse, which is true.
yes, but also
it's like,
I told her, I was like, well,
hear.
it's okay to sit with your feelings. It's okay to be sad. It's okay. Like, it's not, you don't always have to compare yourself to someone else and be like, oh, my life could be worse. No, sit with that. Like, you're allowed to be upset. You're allowed to hurt. It doesn't, you always don't have to deflect that and be like, well, my life could, I could be dying of cancer or something like that. But it doesn't take away from the fact that you're hurting at that time. Like,
Right.
It's
perspective is good.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
It's
like
okay
you're
to
saying,
sit with your feelings and
to examine I feel this way. Why do I feel this way? What does God's word say?
Yes.
How can I move forward in that truth?
Yes.
Years of being behind the chair, cutting people's hair. The main thing that I've learned is people just want to know that someone loves them.
Yeah.
And like you said, your time, your ear, and just letting them, like Sarah said, sit with their feelings and just sit with them. But then in turn, remind them, I love you, but I know someone that loves you even more than I could ever love you. But that's what the world needs. We just want love.
Acceptance.
Everybody wants love and acceptance. And even if it's like, even if I just cut your hair for 2 years, I hope everyone that I ever sat behind my chair knows that I love them. And that I listened to them and that they were important to me and they still are important to me.
That's your mission field.
Yes, it is my mission field. And so, and was I perfect at it? Absolutely not. But everyone that knew that I was not a perfect person. And I was the first one to admit I'm not perfect, but I love you. I'm imperfect, but I serve a perfect God and he loves you more. But I think that's a lot of it is people just want to know that they're loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've noticed even in my life and my line of work, I see a lot of different people every day. And I'm real good at like complimenting people and I'll be like, you look so beautiful today or, whatever the case may be. And it is crazy. They'll come in a bad mood and they'll leave and they'll be like, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And it shows you that one small act of kindness, of being kind to someone,
Yes.
and that's how it changes the world. I never understood that until I got stronger in my faith. And it's like someone can walk into my store and be in a bad mood and me tell them they're beautiful. And when they could have taken that bad mood and went home and taken it out on their kids and their family, I was a light to them and they were able to leave and go home and spread that kindness to someone else. And that's all it takes is like being kind in any situation and speaking positivity over people. And even being like, I've started doing this because I listened to a podcast on this, being like, God loves you. Have a great day.
Yes.
And I do that even like with Huck, my yard guy, and Larry also, he does my yard stuff. He did my Christmas lights and I'll always tell him, I'm like, Jesus loves you. Like when they leave. And what's crazy, this cool story about Larry real quick. I kept trying to get him to come to church and he was like, I'll be there. And there's other people that are trying to get him to come. And he told me he came in one day and he said, I told God, I talked to God, like prayed to God. And he's like, God, if you bring my wife back home to me, I will start going to church. That next day, he came in and he said, my wife called and told me I could come home.
Wow.
And so he started coming to church. He's been back and forth, so I'm still working on him, but
That's okay.
he'll do it. He'll
coming.
do it.
Ayler has this book that she brings home from school, like a reading book, and she goes to a Christian school. So a lot of the content in the book is like Bible verses and stuff. But it was funny because the other day she had like 3 days worth of reading to do. And Nathan or I will like, do you want to read with her? No, you read with her, So I'm sitting down and I'm like helping her. Yeah. And so we get to one of the stories and it's funny because sometimes she'll read a big story and then it'll get to like a small page of just something and I will take it on and let her have a little break or whatever. So I'm reading it and it's this poem and it's like drop a stone in the pond and it has a ripple, and it's like a negative word dropped in the pond will ripple, and then it's like a positive word will ripple or whatever. And so Ayla's, like eating snacks while she has no like comprehension of what's really being read to her. And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, this poem is just so profound, And so it's funny because like, that's what that makes me think of though, is your little actions, your words, those things have ripple effects. And my mom is a great testament to this because when she was on her mill route, she started when she was 18 and retired a few years ago. And she's now in her 60s and she's looking better than ever.
She does. She's a hottie.
I know.
She a baddie too.
She is a baddie. That's true.
Yeah, we can't take that away from her one bit.
That was like her mission field, and she just had story after story after story of people that would tell her how they impacted her. And there was one specifically that she said she would go in every day and drop the mail off at this place of business. And this lady asked her one day, she just goes, "Why are you so joyful?" And my mom, she said I gave her a really bad answer. I said something like, "That's just who I am," or "I'm built that way." Like she said something kind of like cliche or, just like a real simple thing, and left. And she said she was pulling out of the place and she immediately, the Holy Spirit was like, conviction, like, You're not just that way. I'm that in you, girl. Go back in and tell this lady what's up. And so my mom goes back in and she's like, it was awkward because they're like, you were just in here. Like
did you leave something?
And she's like, I have to correct what I said to you. I am not just this way. I have Jesus. Wow, he has saved me from the pits of hell. And that's why I'm joyful. And only because of Jesus in me. She's like, if it weren't for him, I'm a worm that wouldn't wake up in the morning and take on my day. She's like, that's why I'm joyful. And then just left.
Yeah.
Well, over the years, I don't want to butcher this story, but I remember little bits and pieces to know that this woman was diagnosed with cancer or something. Like she was about to pass away. And she asked my mom to speak at her funeral.
Oh, wow.
But my mom
gave me the chills.
My mom wasn't in town when this woman passed away. And so my mom wasn't able to speak at her funeral. But my mom went to her house to visit her. And the lady said, years ago, I was going through a divorce and you wrote me a letter. And I've put it up on my mirror and read it every day of my life since then. And that was years and years ago. My mom didn't even remember doing it. And she was just like, and so I remember when my mom told this story, this was like a decade ago or something. My mom was like, Bobbi, she's like, it matters what we take time to do for people. Like every little tiny thing. She's like, I don't even remember writing a letter for this woman, but she posted it up on her mirror when she got ready and would read it about the truth of who she was in Jesus.
Wow.
And it meant so much to her that she wanted my mom to share something at her funeral. And I just think about that. Like, I'm like, if I could write my obituary now, and I've done this before, and then I lost it after I left my old job. I'm like,
don't need that yet.
If somebody finds that, could you bring it back to me? Because I think I left it at my old office. Anyway, I hope it brings you joy. I don't know. But I'm like, write your obituary now. What do you want people to say about you after you're gone? Do you want that? Like, how are you treating them now? Reverse engineer that in your life. And I can tell you though, like, I can tell you the mom I want to be. I can tell you the friend I want to be. I can tell you the worker I want to be, all these things that I want to be. And it is a daily struggle to be those things. But the things that I think I hold so tightly, like, are so the wrong things to, like Nathan told me this weekend, he's like, it's like catching air in a box, like trying to trap the wind. It is fleeting, it's fading, it's never going to be the thing that gives you any purpose, any joy, any contentment. So like, let's right size this. Yeah. Like make the big things big, the small things small, and then let's run the heck out of this life and like do it well.
Nathan with the knowledge.
Yeah, he was like coming in hot yesterday, you know, in many ways than one. Sorry.
Quit making him blush.
I know. This is
Bless his heart.
Make Nathan blush podcast.
It is.
Okay, well, I love your mom is just an angel. That's all
She's
I can
awesome.
say.
We love you, Crystal. You know, and
Love
she
you,
up in
Crystal.
here.
Oh,
Okay, so actionable steps. Pray for courage and clarity. Spend time asking God to reveal the areas in your life where he's calling you to lead or take action. Pray for the courage to step forward even when it feels daunting. And I've done that recently. I've prayed, like, God, give me courage. So I do not have it right now. And lead by example. Identify one way you can lead with faith in your sphere of influence this week. Whether it's mentoring someone, taking a bold step in your career, standing up for what's right, trust that God will use your obedience for his purpose.
yes.
Okay, guys. Well, that's what we got on Deborah.
Little Debbie.
Oh, little Debs. Gotta love her.
We'll keep that group name for a while.
Yeah, we will.
A reminder to be bold.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
guys.
teach your daughters about Deborah. I wish I would have taught. I
Yeah.
wish I'd have known more about Deborah when Naomi was younger.
Yeah.
Because
She's not a woman that you've heard about.
no, and she's so
much in the
powerful,
Bible.
but she's powerful, but she knows where her power comes from, and
Yeah.
he is able to use that in mighty ways, and I love that about her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in on Found and Free.
Yeah.
We will see you next time, and we will go over Mary, Jesus' mother.
Yes.
I know there's a few Marys
There's
in
lots
the
of
Bible,
Marys in the Bible.
but a very, very important Mary.
Yes.
Had a little lamb. All right.
She did.
She did. Did she?
The Lamb
Oh,
of
she
God.
did.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
she
I
did.
didn't even think about that.
Oh.
Thank you, God. That was a God wink. I'm going to use your humor and make it mine. All right, guys. Have a great day.